So I've been trying to release the rest of my true story. Like I said, it's very extensive and it's very detailed, and I wouldn't even be able to cover it within 10-minute videos here and there. But I've been trying to get through it the best that I can. But now that I've started naming or describing rather interdimensional beings and what they look like, and describing the beings that I've encountered, my phone has been glitching. The TikTok app has been glitching, and by design, I'm aware of what they're doing. But at the end of the day, I'm being guided to share my knowledge and my experience, my knowledge based off of my experiences, and it's divinely guided over here, and that's what I'm going to do. So right now, I can't even utilize the TikTok app because of all of the glitching. So I'm trying to record on my phone, which I don't have a lot of memory, and I will post it. So basically, I talked about the interdimensional beings, some of what I saw. I was up for 7 days. I did not go to sleep for 7 days because my body was vibrating at an intense frequency, and what I was dealing with all of the different beings and their frequencies, it was intense. So sleep was not even a thing that I was even after a while concerned about, because I was so guarded and on point, and just like feeling like I had to protect myself at every turn. There were some down moments that I did have, that I interacted with some beings, and that's how I got to learn the different types of beings, and where I learned that some are very mischievous. We are energy conduits for these beings, and they utilize our energy to not just power their systemic grids that they govern, but a lot of the beings, they use our energy to as it's like food, as fuel for their own energetic signature. They don't have a vessel, okay? They are energetic forms, but everything is energy. Like I said in my other video, keep that in mind. Everything, that's the real currency. So they have a lot of tactics. I really just observed for them 7 days, protected and guarded myself to the best of my ability. And I observed, and because I at some point I almost had like a nervous breakdown, and I just remembered that when I was in, still at my mother's house, and I was in the bathroom, and I was looking in the mirror, and I was like, I was crying a bit, because I was just like, what did I do to deserve this? Like, why is this happening to me? Because after a while, you just wanted it to stop. It took a toll on me, psychologically, mentally, because like I said, maybe because I didn't sleep for 7 days, I was up, and I think it was the 7th day when I had that breakdown. Like, I didn't have time to have a breakdown, but by the 7th day, like, everything was just so much. And I just remember like looking in the mirror and looking at myself, and I just sat on the toilet in the bathroom, and I remember like this being had came into the bathroom while I was sitting on the toilet, and I just really went in there just to get away, but it was like, it didn't matter. Like, if I took a shower, they would be in the shower, they would be touching me, or just like, and it would feel like a lot of shocks, like I was being shocked a lot and stuff. So it was just like a lot of annoyances and things that I was going through. There was no privacy, and but anyway, I learned a lot about the process. I observed a lot, and I saw how many beings, there's different various types of beings, and I will get into that. But some of the beings, and let's say the ones that are more low ranking, and they could be the mischievous ones, or the ones that they're not as harsh as some of the other beings, because I even encountered a reptilian being. Like, I encountered various different beings, and some of them are very harsh. Some of them are very prideful, very ego, like do not respect humanity, human beings at all. They just look at us like a food source. So some of the beings that I saw that they would like, and this happens and this goes on everywhere, where you would have beings in your space, and everyone has beings. It doesn't matter what you think or anything like that, or what anybody says. Everybody has beings in their space, energetic beings. It just we are, coexisting with them. It just is what it is. So, but it does determine your vibration. Sometimes determines the type of beings that are allowed to stay in your space or in your energetic field. That being said, they use us as conduits to energy, because it helps power their structure. It helps, they gain energy from us, and it feeds their structure. Because some structures, energetic beings will start to disappear or dissipate if they do not siphon or garner energy from us, to a certain degree. They will start to dissipate into the earth, especially those that are earthbound, that are bound here. But just some of the lower grade beings, what they'll do is they will shape shift, which is like mimicking, copying the energetic signature of an object, and they will shape shift into the form of that object. So let's say a lamp, for instance. You already have a lamp in your house, and they will shape shift into that lamp. Okay, it'll be the same form. You won't be able to see it because you only see this with your spiritual eyes, not your physical. If you're looking for it with your physical eyes and you still got all these different programmings in your energetic field, it's just not going to happen. But these are things that you would definitely see with your spiritual eyes. And they'll shape shift into whatever object. It could be a light switch. They love a light switch because something that you're going to touch all of the time. So everything is energy transference, right? So things that we touch all of the time or something like that, to them, that's a good place to hide or shapeshift into, because it's like there's always energetic transference anytime we touch something. So that's like, helping them, like how human beings need food for their body, is what they tell us. These beings need energy for their own sustainment. So, and these are just little ways in how they get it. There are extreme ways in how they get it from us. And some of the harsher beings will go through the more extreme ways to get it from us. But even the lower grade ones will benefit to a degree because they'll crowd around. Like, for instance, sexual activity. Okay, a lot of times people are having excuse me, I'm a little stuffy. A lot of times people are having projections about projections of just sexual distortion, lust, these lower carnal ways of perceiving sexual acts or engaging in sexual acts. They love this type of stuff. Like, this is huge for them because our life force, and if you could just see how energy disperses from you when you are engaged in sex, or if you're engaged in anything to that magnitude where it's like that's, they kind of hover around, they crowd around, and they just siphon and just, that energy. So if you're not you're not being conscious when you're engaged in sex and things of that nature, 9 out of 10, your life force, your orgasm is going to these beings. They're siphoning it. And there's ways in which they do that as well. By many times they attach themselves to us. And there are multiple ways they can attach themselves to us. And I'm going to get into all of that in my book. It's very intricate and detailed, like I was saying. But one of the ways that they attach themselves is by the projection of thoughts. So a lot of times as human beings, we think that everything that we're thinking is us. Even if we hear a voice in our head and the voice is our own, we just assume that it's us. 9 out of 10, that's not the case. Okay, there's a lot of projections that are going on, And these projections that they do to us beings is what kind of assists them with hooking us. Like, you know, if they want to siphon us or siphon our energy, the best way to do that is to think long term. The little things like the light switch, a lamp, shape-shifting into a fridge, or, you know, things like that, that's small stuff. That's not long term. Some beings, the harsher ones, they think long term harvesting of energy. So they want to latch onto you psychologically. They want to latch onto your physical body. A lot of ailments, pains people are having in their body has nothing to do with anything natural. It's all them, you know, and it's a lot to go in on, and I want to get to all of it because I think this is very important, touching on these things. I also realize that the foods that we're eating has been assisting with them also latching onto us as well. So I went through the experiences of all of this. So even during that period when I was like eating, I would eat things, I would notice that they would, like, after I would eat certain things, they would like go into my body in certain areas, maybe in my stomach, and I would feel it, feel the energy and everything like that. It's like certain foods we eat kind of ignites our energetic field, like a dispersion of energy. It opens your energetic field. A lot of these foods are mimic coded. They are coded with certain programs and things of that nature that helps these particular beings that governs this place. It like naturally breaks down our field or opens our field up to a certain degree so that they can come and siphon or latch on to certain areas. You know, even when people, when you're hungry, that's not even natural. It's not natural when you start feeling hunger. That's them. You know, I know it sounds weird, but it's the truth. When you feel certain pain, that's them. I would say that the biggest lie, what I found from all of this, because I peeled back everything, the entire matrix, and I saw things for what it was, in truth. And the biggest misconception, the biggest lie in which they've gotten us to believe in is that they've gotten us to identify with things that do not belong to us, that are not, there is no such thing as anxiety. There's no such thing as pain or fear. Even the body doesn't experience fear. Okay, that is like a misconception. Like, they have programmed us to think that it's certain things that are normal that comes with having the body or being in a physical avatar. And I saw it and I found it to be totally untrue. I peeled back the layer and I got the layers and I got to the true essence of who I am, and I saw it in totality for what it was worth. They have corrupted us to such a large degree within this matrix grid, getting us to accept and identify with concepts and things that are not of our nature, that does not come with having a human experience. But they are teaching us that this is part of the human experience. And mind you, they are governing this planetary grid, mimicry, as I was saying. They're governing this planetary grid. So keep that in mind. So all of the systemic structures that come with it is a part of the grid of how they're governing things. So think about it: the pharmaceutical companies, the banking systems, social security numbers, like everything that we thinking that, okay, this is just how it is, this is the way it goes, this, that, and the third. It is it's all bogus. But the main thing I want people to to get is the emotions and things that they have programmed us to be accepting and identify with. They are not us. They are parasitic overlays. Well, I'm going to get into that. Overlays that they place on us, getting us to identify with shit that don't belong to us. There's no such thing as anxiety, depression, any of the diseases that they've given to us. When you feel pain, when you feel hunger, All of this is controlled mechanisms that they are doing to our body. These parasitic entities are they're vast in this planetary grid. They govern this planetary grid. Many of them are assigned with keeping us in a certain stasis. So every day when you go on about life, you don't realize that there's entities following you, placing things on you, doing things to, placing devices, implants, nodes, all types of things on you to keep you tapped into this matrix grid so that you don't come out of it, because it's just it's a lot. And I'm looking at my time and I'm like, because I'm jumping all over the place, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to cover it because I know my phone's about to, cut off. But like I said, this is gonna be in a book, and it's just so deep. And let me tell you, like, I went through hell after I peeled back everything and seen it for what it was. They literally like attacked me for like 2 months, like certain 2 to 3 months, shit that I went through for this. And I'm just at the point now where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to speak my truth, and I'm ready to expose things, and I'm ready to put that out there, because that's what I'm being divinely guided to do, and that's not gonna stop. Now, some years ago, I wouldn't have done this because I still needed to build energetically the strength and the courage to even like step forward and start placing this information out there. And let me tell you, when I say that I have been through a lot that I would not wish on nobody, that I would not place on nobody, that is not for the faint-hearted. And I'm not saying that from an egotistical place. I'm saying that from an aligned, true place, like, so people can understand that the information that I'm now deciding to bring out, like, it's very deep, and it's not for everybody. I get it, because some people still are probably going to choose that they want to, go along with certain programs. It's hard to break out of programs, is what I'm saying. I get it. Or it's hard to release them sometimes when you have been taught to believe something your whole life. But yeah, so